I do not accept racism as a concept of legitimacy. The English language is rather complex. And, for example, activism, active, activist, activism. Okay. Now, race, racist, racism, human, humanist, humanism. Okay? I know, I'm not going to even explain that. But since I can see these patterns and how all these rules are broken, then for me, racism is just a lazy version or a meaning or a definition of something that should just be translated into abusivism. Might as well, based on these laws and codes and rules that go on as far as the English language is concerned. So it's abusivism. If there's such a thing as racism, then there's abusivism, right? Isms and schisms. Now, moving right along. When it comes to abuse and violence and injustice, the target usually is able to be abused based on physical aspects, such as whether these are children, or if this is a woman, or if this is a male or man, based on their size, based on if this individuals, a group, can defend themselves. If they get tired of the situation, if they decide to leave the location, there are choices, even though with how abusivism has been structured, and it was a well thought plan, okay? These are intellectual retards collectively. I'm not saying they're all. I'm just saying majority of who runs this system is a intellectual genius retard. Okay? The reason why they are retards is because of their behavior to be of savage instinct. Their plan, these plans that have been well thought and well planned out and well strategized for this culture, this entirely long culture of abusivism and of depravity, and it gets more extreme as the so-called years progress, okay? So these genius retards that run these countries and nations, majority of them are males, okay? And this ain't just name calling. This isn't just trying to point out, okay? Now, going back to the victims or these groups and individuals that are at the receiving end of the abuse, usually can go into a couple categories, okay? You could go so far as to say physical attributes, okay? So this group doesn't like that group. However, there's more to that, okay? But that's one receiving end, okay, whatever. Now, the extent of abuse, however, ranges based off of how the group that is receiving the abuse responds or accepts the abuse. Now, whatever the receiver of this abuse decides to label themselves to be, whatever the definition or if they have a title for whatever type of treatment of abuse they're receiving, that's totally up to them. That has little to nothing to do with the actual abusers. The actual abusers don't give not an inkling of care as to what the abused call themselves, okay? I.e., if I am an abuser and I choose to abuse whatever such group, and they refuse to reciprocate what I'm giving, then I've already defeated them on many levels. I've defeated them mentally. I've defeated them, in accordance to this structure that was set up by genius retards, males species. They were able to infiltrate damn near everybody's minds to accept this myth as reality. The myth being that in order for me to survive and to feed my family, I have to slave and do meaningless or less than decent what do you call it? Less than decent contribution to nature itself, and as far as the betterment or improvement of my own and those that surround me life. I.e., for example, you can only make so many models of Samsung TVs until it's meaningless, okay? Meanwhile, you still need to eat, okay? Same thing goes for, it's not a matter of someone being able to, or it's not a matter of getting the machine to wrap these plastic bags around this handful of sugary concocted product that is now believed to be so-called food for me to ingest and digest, and to grow up to grow into a healthy old lady. Okay, it's foolish. Okay, it may be sparkly and glittering and very well packaged garbage, but it's garbage. Okay, all of the materials and resources that are invested into selling me something that is free. At the root of this, we have accepted complexities as normalcy. Okay, I don't need to know the square root of 302 in order for my life to be purposeful and pleasurable and enjoyable. Okay, what I do need though is I do need an abundance and an open access to wisdom, education, and recipes, and the alterations and the preparations, and knowing how um, to install things and to build and to dig. And what am I looking at? Can I identify what this is? What will it do? The reactions of such, who's done it? Let me connect with them. Oh, they don't want to connect with me. Well, it's a good thing that there's a plenty of other living, breathing organisms that call themselves humans, who I can go try with them. And perhaps I am finally at the position in my life of my reality where paper, murdered, massacred trees are no longer the means of trade and consumption. Instead, I am forced, if you will, but it's a willingness. Okay. It is a desire and a drive and the inspiration to finally connect with other individuals, other organisms that call themselves humans, and devils and gods and whatever the hell they call themselves. I don't care. Whatever the heaven they call themselves, okay? So if I'm an abuser and I know that I have successfully infiltrated the population's mental, configuration, and have gotten them, have gotten them to accept this ideology that with a piece of massacred, murdered tree with a face on it, if I can get them to believe this, then I've got it made. I've got it made. And based off of so many females, males, men, women, robots, and everything, everything else, when they refuse to take justice into their own hands, literally, when you refuse, instead of, not marching, not not begging, not pleading, not even giving the myth of the idea that there is a so-called thing as a what do you call it, the unhonorable, the undesirable, the unnecessary, the well rehearsed and ready to manipulate and deceive and use this language as a manner, method, and tactic of ruling and controlling these, which I believe are my abusees. They are my, I own them. I own them and I regulate them. And what I say goes. When you don't give me the murdered, massacred tree for the free product and resources, needed and unneeded, when you don't give it to me, or if you decide to use free will as if it's free will, and I told you it's not, then you're sold, okay? Now, my issue with the breakdown of this is that the abusees can change. The abusees do not have to accept abuse, because as a indentured servant and slave and afraid young girl, I too, accept that role. I accepted that role as, oh, I will just, and woe is me. Okay? So when you have scientists, because we're all technically natural born scientists, okay? It's for everyone, literally. Even for the ant, even for the fish. Everyone is entitled to be a scientist, a researcher, a journalist. You're entitled to be a guardian, protector, warrior. You're entitled to that. That is free will. You're even entitled to kill. Now, with that being said, morals used to be something that I really preached about, but not even but. However, what it comes down to is the evolution of whatever you consider yourself to be. What is the purpose of me killing any of you? You're not worth your filth of blood is not worth it to me. If I have to stoop to that level, you're not even worth it. And you can't get rid of me. You can keep the corpse, but you're never getting rid of me. Because you need me. You do need me. And just as much as I need many of you, there's a lot of shit I don't need. As far as the variations of geniuses or genius retards or the completely whatever. Abusees and abusers. My thing is this, is that whenever, it's unfortunate because the woman collectively, now, and as I've stated many times, and I will continue to open my mouth to tell you, there's a difference between a female and a woman. A girl can be a woman. A woman can be a girl. A female is a female, period. Okay? And then there's female predators. A woman cannot be a predator. A girl cannot be a predator. A female can be a predator. Not every so-called organism is a woman. Even if she has a vagina, it's not an earned, okay, first of all, it's just a word. There's a spiritual comprehension of this. And if you're not getting it, then when you're ready to receive it, if you're ever to receive it, then it will be received by you. And you'll come to comprehend it. You may not agree with it, or you may not discern this in this fashion. However, spiritually, they know exactly what I'm speaking of. They had to, and who are they? They is the they is the spiritual realm. Whoever that energy is, whatever that energy is, I don't have a name for it. That spiritual realm, and then the figures, the walking dead, that don't enjoy living. They don't enjoy living. They don't want to live. Okay. They want to be abusers. They are fulfilled off of abusing. That's their energy. And this is my energy. So in a physical aspect, I have weaknesses like any living organism does, dead or alive, has weaknesses. And that's fine. Okay? Perfectly fine to me. So being a woman, a spiritual entity, goddess in a physical form, currently this one that I'm in, that is speaking to you, the sound that is coming out of my mouth, with the language that I've adopted as my own, and I don't go to the institutions and the programs because I suppose you could say my confidence and my ego will not allow me to get there. And if I do get there, if I ever do give that energy into pretending that it matters how many words I can use and pull out of that word bank as if it constitutes anything, disguising itself to be intellect. I can hear what I'm saying, and I know what I'm saying, and they that know that I know what I'm saying. Yes, I'm a goddess. No, you don't own me. Yes, I'm aware that you think that you can kill me. Okay, my corpse will be gone, but I'm never going. I will never go. I'm never going. Because it's called truth. And the truth is that life has always been free. You're a victim if you allow yourself a victim. I allowed myself to be a victim, therefore I was a victim. Even as a child, I knew that I was not a child, even though I still am a child. Why? Because as a teacher knows that they must continue to learn because there's no end to the learning, even though all of the information that I need is within me, which is within you, which is within me. Okay? So no, I don't need the validation. I validate myself just fine. Okay? And so the spiritual realm and the so-called bodies that harvest their energies, and because their inability to allow so-called humans to self-govern themselves and collectively be mature enough and evolved enough to be God-like people. And yet they worship ideas. That's what they worship. They worship ideas. They need approval from a source outside of itself. I don't. I no longer care that to be validated. What would be the use anyway? Okay. So as abusees, in the act of abusivism, I do not recognize racism or to be racist or as a race. These are words also that do not have in my thinking, in my opinion, have a faulty standing. It lacks enough clarity, because to have a foot race and then to be a race, in my opinion, is it's contradicting. Either I'm in a race competing, which I'm not. I don't need to compete with you, because the day that I believe that there's even something to accomplish or to be awarded, see, and that's where they lost they lost me, when it became a battle for a position that is not fulfilling to me or nature, and lacks enough intellect to even to for it to be accepted, for this system to be accepted as an impressive, to me, shows the retardedness of these genius males and females and predators and the abusers and the abusees. It goes to show the intellect. Yet I've been stronger. I get stronger. But again, to murder all of you, or to get rid of the world. It's not happening, for one. For two, it's unnecessary because your blood is filthy to me. That's too much energy to go into trying to destroy everyone else when collectively we are doing a fine job getting rid of ourselves. But I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. This temporary shell, sure. But I won't go anywhere because I'm the truth, and I will show up. I show up all the time. Okay? Time don't work. Time don't work. Okay? Time only works when we're on a genius retards schedule. Okay? So Monday through Sunday, y'all play all the games. Okay? Whenever the so-called black males decide that they want to be the so-called black man or black gods or whatever the hell they think they are, that's hot. Yeah. Whenever you decide, and also instead of picking up that book that y'all lie about me in, when you decide that the scientists that you agree with are correct, because I hear plenty females and males alike pulling out these percentages and numbers. Do you remember when it was stated, and I don't need to research this. You go research it. I heard it and I downloaded it, and I'm always remember it being said that black males, have more testosterone and are physically more advanced or stronger, if you will, than all the other ethnicities, nationalities. So the black male, whether that's the darker skinned male with the kinky nappy hair, the afro, him, he is the so-called strongest. Okay, he goes and plays football and basketball, just absolutely pathetic excuse of living, because he cannot take enough responsibility to use that energy and force towards, when you get free, when you're no longer owned, when you're no longer seeking approval from outside of you, like how I'm told, when you're no longer seeking approval from any so-called higher being entity than you, and that's fine. I won't approve or disapprove of a higher entity than me. That's fine. Sure. It exists. Sure. However, when it comes down to you believing, any of you, and I don't care what shade of your skin you got, when any of you decide to use your science and decide to use your intellect, you'll come to discover that football and basketball provide no benefit and improvement to the ones playing it, the ones watching it, and the ones benefiting off of it, and then the lack thereof. What did it do? It did absolutely nothing. It took a bunch of space. You wasted a lot of fake money, wasted a lot of time, fake time. You did your suits, but yet I won't even get into this because now no, absolutely useless. Instead of males crashing into each other, fighting over a ball, getting awarded for fighting over a ball, being abused, enjoying the abuse. Since they've forgotten about her and the reason, the rams butt heads, bulls butt heads, dogs, cats butt heads, and why they're butting heads. The only reason why these animals chase balls now is because we have genius retards who have very interesting creative. They do make interesting creative products that we don't need, merchandise that we don't need that we enjoy. We've become high class, over indulgent on meaningless garbage, packaged and wrapped up in a bow. We do meaningless activity, including myself, only when I'm daydreaming and asleep do I get to enjoy the free real world. I know what it looks like, it tastes like, it smells like. It's wonderful. But when I'm back here in the man's playground, I'm shown over and over again that the intellect is only used on meaningless garbage, just like this conversation, no doubt. But I have to eat this food now. I don't have to, but I want to. I'm hungry, and it is what it is. I'll come back later, or you'll hear it from somewhere else. May not be out of my mouth. That's fine. Nope. We're not going to be quiet. Yes, we're going to continue until it's no longer, when it's no longer the truth, then I'll be quiet. Until then, I'm going to point it out. And since you got all the energy and all the extra strength, and I've got all the courage in these words, and the power and the spirit behind that, you can use this, and I'll be happy to see you use that.